If you are at the beginning stages of using Card, or if you're thinking about using this one-page website builder, then this video is really going to help you, because by the end of the video, you're going to know exactly the steps you need to take in order to go from your idea to having a fully functioning website. We're going to go deep into the pricing and talk about the different pricing plans and what's going to be best for you and your project. We're going to talk about whether Card is right for you or not based on what you want to build, because it's quite unique in what it does. Then we're going to look at the templates, which is such an important part of using Card in the right way, before we go into how to edit those templates, how to add different sections, and how to use some of the advanced features before talking about how to publish the website. Save this video so you can come back to it later. But let's just get started by going to the Card website. When you go to the Card website, this is what you're going to see. So here we can choose a starting point or log in. But first, what we're going to do is just go down to explain a little bit more about what it's about, but mainly look at the pricing, because I think that's the best place to start with Card. So if we scroll down, it says optional, go pro. Now, it says upgrade your Card experience, go pro, from just $19 per year. Now, if you've used any software in the past or any website builder, $19 per year is super cheap. And it's a great deal once you start to use some of these pro features. And for most people, you're going to need the pro features, but this shouldn't be out of reach for most people. However, there is another plan as well, because if we click Learn More, and we scroll down, we also have a Pro Plus. So there's Pro Lite, $9 a year, Pro Standard, $19 a year, and Pro Plus, $49 per year. And if you're like me, what I like to do is to go down to see what's not included in the different ones. So when it comes to Pro Lite here, you get the 3 sites, the premium URLs, not custom domain URLs, and some of these things like custom templates, video uploads, etc. But I think for most people, they'll need this middle plan at least because of the forms, the embeds. We also have widgets as well, which are really important. And I'll explain what all this means soon. And also, you're going to get the custom domain URLs. Now, this means here, and this is important, that you're going to be able to use your own domain name to host your Card website. And it depends what you're going to use it for, and we'll look at that in a second too. But this is probably going to be the reason why people want to use Pro Standard. The other one is Forms, because Forms allows you to collect email addresses for people getting in touch with you. And if you just want to play around with it and see what it's like first, you can try Pro Free for 7 days too. Now, I have the Pro Standard account, and also know that there are various price plans around this too. So if you scroll this way, you can do 25 sites for $39 a year. The Pro Plus, you can do up to 1,000 sites for $1,000 a year. Now, this is obviously if you're making sites for people and you're charging to host it. So this is also a business idea for you in case you get to this level. And just before I show you inside the Pro account, you also see here for this extra plan, advanced settings, download sites, redirects, site files, etc. But for most people, like I say, this Pro Standard for 10 sites is going to cover most people's needs. Now, let's say you just want to try it free. You can click here, choose a starting point. And a starting point is what I highly recommend you do when you're new to Card. Now, up here, you can say blank page, and you can build out all the elements that you want to build. But with a starting point, what you're going to do is this. You're going to choose the template you want to use. So let's just say you scroll down and think, this one looks good. And then from there, you can edit the colors, the text, the fonts, and also connect the form to whatever service provider you're using. Another example is, let's say you have a photography website or you want to build one. You go to Portfolio, scroll down, choose one that you like, and then edit it that way. That is the power of using something like Card. It means that you don't have to think about web design. You don't have to think about how to create the hero section, what should fit on a website. Instead, you're using templates that Card has built for you, and then you are modifying those templates. Okay, so that's the key part about Card. You start with a template and then you modify the template. Now, as you get used to it, you might want to start with a blank page, but it's always best to go through these and find the type of template you want to use and then modify it from there. Let's say we want to choose this one here. You can demo it to see what it's like as a demo. So this is kind of like a live site in a way, but a demo site. Or if you click select, then it's going to take you to here. Now, this is fantastic because it's showing me some useful instructions, and you're seeing this too. So the plus button here is to add elements, undo, redo, preview animations if you have any here. This button we're going to use a lot because it's going to switch to a mobile view. You can publish site, and then there's more actions here. This is especially like the settings part. Now you can click on any element to bring up its properties. You can also drag and drop the elements to arrange them. So this is the way it's going to work. It's a drag and drop builder. Click on it. You can drag things around, move it around, and at any time you can add extra elements. Now, hopefully you're going to find a template that covers everything for you so that you don't really need to make many changes. But a lot of the time you will have to add extra elements, and I like to delete elements too. Okay, got it. So here we are on the website Card Builder. Hi, I'm Molly. As you can see, as you hover over the text, if you click on any element, it's going to bring up this side panel. Now, this side panel, it can be a little confusing when it comes to text because you have the markdown formatting. You don't have the like, do this and be able to click a bold button. Instead, it's this markdown formatting. So you might have to just use this a little bit here and there, but depending on the site, you might not need to either. So the A button means like the text font button. This is the appearance part, or the styling as I like to call it. So with any one of these, you can change the color of the font. So let's say we want red, it's now red. You can also add a style so that any of a title that you use like this will be in the same style as this. So you can change it to, let's say we want to use Alpha Slab 1, which is difficult to read, especially with the weight. If we make the weight smaller, it's not changing. Sometimes the weight doesn't change depending on the font that you're using. But this means that you can change the font, you can change the color, and if you scroll down, you can also see you can change a lot more as well in terms of the elements. Now, one of my tips with building a card website is to know that, yes, you can play along with this as much as you want. You can change the line spacing, the letter spacing, you can change drop shadows, you can do the outlines, etc. But sometimes more doesn't mean better. Instead, what you can do is think about the template and work with the template and try and keep it as much like that as possible. As we learned before, if we click this here, you can add in animations. So, for example, as this page loads, then it can do certain animations. Now, if I click the animation button here to preview, that's what it's like when it loads. Now, maybe you don't want it to be animated when it loads. Instead, what you can do is turn off the animations as well. So that's a very brief overview about starting with a template. But first, you need to choose a template. So what we're on here is the All button. And this is your starting point. So before you think too much about a website, start with a template. Now, sometimes you're going to scroll down and just think, yes, this one, perfect. That's the one I'm going to use. Or you might need to take a little bit more time to think about what kind of website you're building. Now, at the top, it also has these tabs here to show you different templates based on specific styles. One thing to know is that people often use the word landing page to mean to collect email addresses, building landing pages for opt-in forms. But if you're building an opt-in form landing page, go to form, and that's going to give you the best ones here. For example, I'm going to show you some of my favorites to get started. If you're building a basic opt-in, then this one is one of my favorites. Also, it's a premium template, which means you need the Pro plan. But like we said before, you can do it for 7 days. You've got a 7-day trial to test it out. So let's say we want to use this one. Again, I'll go back to the templates in a second, but I just want to show this one really quickly. If you want to build a newsletter, for example, use this one. Here's a newsletter. Here's a picture up here. You can change the text here and then change this here. And we'll talk about how to connect with email service providers later too. But this one could be perfect for you if you want an email opt-in. If you're building a profile page, go to Profile. Now, this is one that I'm actually going to build for myself soon. I'm going to build my personal profile page, and I'm going to use Card to do it. So, for example, I'm scrolling down here and thinking, which one do I want to use? So there might be some ones that are more specific to photography, if you're a photographer or a digital designer. There might be ones that are more specific to different type of work that you do. So this one I see, we saw it before, is more as like a Linktree style website. So let's say you're an entrepreneur and you can say, I can help you in this way, this way, this way, and this way. This is my website. This is a page where you can direct people to do other things. So going back again, these are the types of pages that you can build for a profile page. Now, landing, I see more as like a sales page or some type of coming soon page. We built a coming soon page on the No Code MBA channel here recently, and I'll link to all the videos that we made on Card in the description. But for example, if you look at the title for this one, and let's go to the demo, the next big thing. So this is like it's selling some type of maybe software or an idea where you're creating the landing page for people to opt into this. Now, because Card is a one-page website builder, and yes, you can find ways to build a blog through it. Yes, you can do membership websites, but I think it's best used when you're thinking this is a one-page builder. This, for example, could be to sell a course that you have. So you have a course, you build a landing page for the course, they click a button here and it takes them to Gumroad, or it takes it to Shopify, or it takes it to wherever you're hosting your course at the moment. Or maybe you've built a Chrome extension using Replit's AI, which we talked about on the channel recently. Then you can use this as a landing page and have this link to Gumroad or to Stripe or PayPal, and people can buy products from here. So that's another example of how we can use Card. Now, portfolio is a little bit more like the photography like we were talking about before. So to show your different type of work. Let's look at this one as a demo. If we go in here, you can see professional picture taker and other stuff. If only there was a word for picture taker. But this can show you an example of, okay, this person, they're showing their photos on the Card website. Maybe they're not selling anything at the moment. Maybe they're trying to push people to go to Instagram. I don't know what this one is. Instagram, X, or email. But that's what they're doing with this. They're sharing their photos. But all of these are customizable because you can enter a button below this text, for example, to say, work with me, and then people can fill out a form. You can embed type form in here. You can embed different types of forms in here as well. And then the last one is sectioned. So if we click on one of these as a little demo, let's do this one. A section is like a mini website without it being different pages. So it kind of like home, work, and it brings up something else in this section here when you click these buttons. Maybe this is making your wheels turn to think about, oh, I like that. I can do this and have it a little bit more interactive. But the idea with this one, it's not a different URL, but it's bringing in these different elements as you click these tabs here. So I think that covers the different types of templates that you can use with Card. What we're going to do now is choose one and show the adaptability of these templates, but also focus on the way that you can make the templates work for you. Now, a good thing to think about as well is after this video, go to the other videos where we went through how to build a landing page, how to build a profile page like Linktree, and how to introduce the different types of elements into Card. But what we'll do is we'll choose one, and I'm going to choose one I've not used before, so then it's a little bit different. Let's go landing, because landing usually has more on the page, and I'm just going to choose one at random. Let's go for this one, because I like a little chart. First, we'll go in the demo to see what it's about. Scroll down. You can see here how this looks like it's maybe it's like a teacher who is selling their online courses, for example, or their online lessons. But this has lots of different sections, the forms at the bottom as well. So if we go up to here, select to start pro trial, what we have is this is the template we're now going to use. Now, a place I like to get started with is the colors. So I actually quite like the colors on this page, and I wouldn't maybe change too much if I was thinking, oh, I need to start with new colors. So a good place to start with the styling is to know that we have a background. We have different containers first. We have the page, container, and then little elements within of those. Now, this is where it can get a little bit confusing when you're trying to build something yourself, especially as someone doing it first time. And that's why it's important to get the template correct before you do too much. But if you've got the time, then nothing's lost if you want to mess around with things and to learn how Card is going to work. But what we can do first is to click on this outer part, and you have the background. Okay. Now you can change the color. You can also have an image, video, gradient. In fact, let's try a gradient and just go with what they're going with to begin with. So we've got a gradient background, and then on top of that gradient background, we can also add a pattern, and you can do things with the pattern. So let's just say we want to do, none of them are really appealing. Let's just do a simple one. So that doesn't look good at the moment. You'll probably agree, but we can make the size smaller, and we can take the thickness down, and we can also maybe change the color so it's not quite as harsh. Let's just go with something like that. Now, it's not what I'd choose, but it's just showing you what it might look like. In fact, I'm going to have to take that off because it's hurting my eyes. So let's go with no pattern at the moment. One feature I wish they had was to have opacity with the pattern here. So you could quickly take the opacity down with it. But if you just click on the pattern again, scroll to the top, click none, that's much better. And then from there, what we can do is what you'll notice is it changes the background in all the relevant places. Again, another reason why it's important to have some type of template that you know you're going to use. The gradients hurt my eyes as well. I'm just going to go with the color and just go with what we had before. And then from here, you can think about this in two ways, but with web design, and we're not going to go into web design in depth here, but the idea is to think about what is it you want someone to do when they land on your website, and how can you build this up so that people take that action. Let's say we're building a website for people to take our web services, and we want to embed a calendar. We actually made a video on embedding calendars recently. But what we can do is think about the one action someone wants to take is to click a button and to book a time with us. If it's to collect email addresses, it's for the person on the website to click that form, like down here, for example, and type in the email. If it's to sell a Chrome extension, it's for them to click the buy button and to pay for that. So bear that in mind when you're thinking about what you want to do. Even if you're building a profile page for photography, what's the one action you want people to take? In most cases, it's to hire you. So therefore, what you want to do is to have it set up so people click that button, get in touch with you so that they can hire you for their work. So let's say we like this as our little hero section. We're going to click the image and we can upload an image. I'm going to just do that very quickly. I know it's not perfect. I've just taken a part of our thumbnail, but I want to also scroll down here or go to this button here, appearance, and know that you can change the size of this too. So we can make it, sometimes it fills a container, as you can see, and then it doesn't get any bigger. That's where we have to think about making this image container bigger in general. Now, whenever you change dimensions and things like that, know that it might not always work on mobile. So maybe you want that image below here on mobile. With this, if you scroll down, you have auto, or manual. You can change it on mobile, so it changes only on the mobile section. If it's auto, then it's just going to do it automatically. If you can get away with auto, do auto. But no, the more you change and the more technical things you put in, the more likely it's going to be that you need manual. So we're back on here. Let's say this is the image here. We click on text. Like I mentioned before, this is where you change the actual copy of the text. You can't type it in here. It has to be over here. And then this is where you can change the appearance. So let's just say we're happy with that. And this isn't a lesson on copywriting, but it's just going to be something like book a consultation with me. Now, again, as you add more text, you might think we need to bring the spacing down. I'm just going to mess with this a little bit. We're going to go line spacing, make it a little tighter to make that all a little bit tighter there. And you have to click done every time you want to get out of there. Now, let's just say we've put some text in here. The next thing we need to think about is the button. And this is where the Card Pro really comes in. Because if we click the button, what we can see here is, if we do the scroll down, there's different things we can do with this button. A lot of the time, it's going to go to a URL, okay? So it might be a URL for something. It might be a URL to go to a different website. But if it's to book a consultation, then we might need to play around with this a little bit more. Click over here, click this add button, and then maybe it's a widget. Now with the widget, we have things like Stripe checkout, Gumroad, Facebook Like, funny they still have that, PayPal or Typeform. So a consultation might be, oh, you buy this on Gumroad, and then you have the button here. They click that, it goes through to Gumroad to buy the consultation. But if it's going to be a Calendly calendar or Acuity calendar, then know that you need to do the embed. Now, they're not going to give you every feature of Embed Pro before you sign up, okay? So this is something you need to have after you pay. That's one of the things. Even though they give you a free trial, I've noticed some things aren't available here, including publishing your website. You need to pay before you publish your website to your own domain name. Now, as I have a Card Pro subscription, I've logged in to show you a website that I set up recently and made a video on this channel. Now you can see here there's an embed section here. Because I have the Pro, I've got embed here. Now if I click on this and you scroll down, I've put the code in here, and I'm going to show you what it looks like in terms of the types of things you can add in here. So I'm actually going to go to the site. Then you're going to see the site. This is a live site at the moment. And then if you say schedule time with me, it's going to load up this Calendly calendar, which is always difficult to say, in order for someone to book a time with me here. So this is an example of using that extra embed button. Now with the embed buttons, we can do things like code, or we can do iframe. But you might also just want to have the different widgets here, which are the ones that are built into Card. Ones that have this native support for it, so you don't need to copy and paste the code, although that's quite easy. So things like Gumroad, like we mentioned before, PayPal, where you can directly link to your PayPal account, or a Stripe checkout. So if you are going to sell something on here directly, you can use Stripe, Gumroad, or PayPal for that. Now let's quickly go over some of the other widgets that we can use here. Text is just adding more text in there. A list is a bullet list. You can add images. You can add different buttons. Video. Now, video, you can embed videos into your website, add in links. These ones, a lot of people aren't going to use these, like audio or icons and things like that. You have a timer for a coming soon page. In fact, let's just add a timer in here. You can just say October 31st, let's say Halloween. This is when we're going to go trick-or-treating at 8 o'clock. A little bit late, but people still do it. And say done. Then the timer's not going to work correctly here. It doesn't usually. But I'm just going to say publish changes. And then if we just click the widget button here as well, things like you can add in some slideshows. Well, obviously, you can have pictures rotating. So if you click on the slideshow here, go down, you can upload images here, and then you have the settings here. So it might be in the center, you can put it on the left, top left, etc. And you can also change the different types of crossfade, delay, and duration to do this as well. I think it's best to try the settings first and then to go from there. I'm going to delete that widget, click another widget, put it where we want to put it, and then go to form. Now this is one that a lot of people want to use because it's about collecting email addresses. So the contact form is one where people contact you. So this is just a simple contact form where people can get in touch with you when it comes to your email address. And you can see you can have a recipient email. Now, if you don't fill this in, it's going to go, I can't highlight this, but you can see over here, the recipient's email for this form's messages, up to 10, leave empty to email the site's owner. So you can add your email in here, and then when someone fills out this contact form, it's going to go to this email address. Now, sign up form is something different, where you're going to integrate it with an email service provider like ActiveCampaign, Beehive, ConvertKit, MailChimp, MailerLite, Sendy, Email Octopus, a new one to me. And then what you do is you follow the instructions down here to add your API key. Well, let's just change it, say it's SendFox, access token, if it's Sendy, URL, API key, list ID, etc. So what you want to do when it comes to this is to just search for card, 2 R's, and then Sendy, for example, integration. And then you're going to get on either card or Sendy instructions step by step on how to integrate this form with your email service provider. So let's just say we're going to do ActiveCampaign one I've done before. You can do things like create a contact, add a contact to a list, or add a contact to an automation. And then you put the automation ID in here. So let's just say you have get my free book on this thing and we'll send you emails over the next 10 days, for example. And you have your automation, your email series set up. This can connect to that using this card form over here. Now there are some extra options up here for this, including fields and name, full name, etc. What kind of button you want to use, and you also have the appearance as well. Now once you have this set up, you can have your own, you can use it as a default one, so every time you use a new form, then it's going to just do it exactly the same, which is really useful. And then like we talked about before, embed allows you to do extra things where you add in the code here. So I used it so then I can use a pop-up Calendly account and calendar. I always find it so hard to say here, so that you can add in the code, whatever it is that you're using to put onto the website. So let's say you like this website now. What you can do is publish here. And in most cases, you're going to want a custom domain. So you get your custom domain, let's say at GoDaddy or Namecheap, and then you put your domain in here, and then follow these instructions here. You're going to learn about like DNS records, CNAMEs, etc. It is actually quite straightforward. Once you do it, you'll think, okay, it's technical, but I've done it. Now, the benefit of doing a custom domain is that, let's say you get your domain on GoDaddy, but then you don't want to use card anymore. 6 months later, you can then use Squarespace or Webflow, follow their instructions, and you just do the same, and then your domain now will live on that website or using that website. Now, with the settings, you can do things like add in your Google Analytics ID to see the analytics for your website. And then if you scroll down, you also have meta tags. Here, which you can add meta tags to tell Google what it's about. Ensure that if you want your site to be found by search engines on, so it indexes into the search engines. And then update frequency auto as well. Now, one last tip I would just want to leave you with is keep doing this mobile one. Because, as you can see here, with the mobile, I don't like the way that this is set up. So if I click on over here and go to the appearance, you can go down a mobile. If we do auto, it's even worse. So you can see here, intentional, that's cut over here. So that is the step-by-step tutorial for beginners using Card. Thank you for watching. We hope you found this useful. If you did, be sure to check out our other videos on Card, and then also go to nocode.mba to learn from the top no-code experts on how to build websites, apps, automations, and more using no-code tools. If you're new here, subscribe, watch another video, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.